And hello, everybody. I'm Rick Dancer. Welcome to Get Real with Rick Dancer. We've got a great show for you tonight. We, as you know, in this country and in Oregon, and especially in Western Oregon, we have this difficulty with cases of missing people. And we have a number of missing people. And some of the cases, Michael Bryson, that's probably the one that you guys know the most and remember the most. But there's a bunch of other people who have been missing and just weird shit going on. And so there's been some developments. And so I'm just going to bring those the folks on, Tina and Parrish are here, and then Candace and Misty. And these are all people you've seen before if you watch the show much, and family. Anyway, we're going to get to that in just a second. Let me bring first, we cannot do our show without Michael Bratland at this channel. He's my dentist. I actually really do. I come back every 6 months to see him. It's because I know what he does. And if you want crowns done, and I've only had one crown, but he does them right. I've had people do one wrong, and it wasn't fun. And Michael uses all USA made products. Nothing. A lot of other denture, people that put in crowns and all that kind of crap, they use products from Japan, from China. Everything Dr. Bratland does is local, local, local. So if you're looking for a dentist who cares about your free speech, who cares about your rights, who cares about your teeth, Dr. Michael Bratland is your guy. Okay, let me get this stuff out of here because this gets me confused. And I'm going to bring on, we got Misty, we got Candace. Misty, I'm going to have you introduce everybody else who's with you, and Parrish and Tina Bryson. How come Parrish got his name on there and Tina didn't?
Yeah, I tried on the computer, but the computer wouldn't work.
Do you know where the T is? It's right under the 5 and 6. And you just go right down to that and you hit T, and then you can figure the rest out yourself. You guys thought this was going to be nice and fun. Misty, who is joining you and your family up here?
This is my sister Stacy and my daughter Marissa.
It's good to have you both on here. Casey, you've been on before, haven't you?
Yes.
Yes, I remember. Yeah. Okay, so you've been on. So tell us, Candace, I'm going to go to you first. Tell us why you called me up, why you guys notified me and said we need to talk with you. What is going on? What's the new break?
So right now we're in Lane County. We're in Eugene. We had a big search party planned in November that unfortunately got canceled due to all the rain, and so we were able to make it all out. We figured the heat's better than the rain, so we've got 4 canines with us, elite canine teams. Some of the Missing in America Network, my associates that help with the awareness. And we all know there's these cases that just aren't adding up. And it's really hard to make a missing persons case become a criminal case without evidence. So I've been working closely with Lane County Sheriff's Office, and they have welcomed us in. They love the resources. They love that we're willing to come out and do this, because they're on a budget. So we are helping them overcome the budget, and they are welcoming us in. We're getting full case information. We know everything, search and rescue maps, GPS coordinates. And so, really the biggest thing is to bring these 2 families some peace. I have become so close with them, and I feel like I know their families. And then, of course, we had the big, fine that we had to make the push for the last time we talked.
You found, so Misty, it was your guys' brother and uncle up in the top right-hand corner here. It was Shane, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so you guys found there was a skull that was in. Explain what happened, Misty. Explain that part of the story for people. Are you guys up in square number? I feel like I'm doing Hollywood Squares. So in Hollywood Square number on the far right hand side, what happened? And you did get the identity on that, right?
Right. So a couple of years ago, we found out a little bit accidentally that some remains were found, and it wasn't. All along, we've been kind of told that, we didn't think that it was Shane, up until a couple of months ago, when Candace became involved and kind of pushed to have the testing done. And recently we got the results back that it is his.
We're in preliminary stages, so we all know how that works. It's preliminary. We don't have reports. So we'll get those, and once we get those, we will release final analogy how that works with DNA. But we kind of knew from the get-go. As soon as Misty told me, she sent me a message and she told me, hey, there's more human remains that were found that they're not being tested, and that's when my tail feathers kind of stood up. And it's like, no, we're going to get this done. Now, listen, I want to make it clear that this has nothing to do with the sheriff's office. This is a lab problem. This is something that we need to fix in the state of Oregon, that we say, hey, we don't have enough labs. We don't have enough funding. There is no reason why that piece of that skull should have sat there from 2023 until 2025 when I found out about it and got it pushed to get done. But the sheriff's office has no pull on that. And so I just want people to be clear. We got a bigger issue here in the state. It's not just the sheriff's. The sheriff's office has no pull in that.
So Tina and Parrish, do you guys feel like that law enforcement has taken this case seriously of Michael's disappearance? Because how many years has it been? Good God.
In 2 weeks, it'll be 5 years.
Yeah. August 5th, right?
Correct.
Yeah. August 5th.
So where are you guys at with this? What's going on with Michael's search and everything?
Well, hats off to Candace for helping us as well. As you know, we have never went silent, and we won't go silent about Michael and anybody else in this area who's went missing. But Candace came out this week with Dylan's Legacy and started out at we had a poker tournament on Sunday, which was a fundraiser, and she brought some dogs there and did a kind of a, not an orientation, but
is it a training or?
No, not training. She just brought the dogs in. We did like a triple blind where I hid some of Dylan's remains in the lodge, and then the dogs came in and worked the lodge and found the remains. So the people at the tournament were able to take a break and watch the dogs work. So they found out why and where their money was going that they were donating from this tournament. So they got to see firsthand how the dogs worked. So it was a presentation. That's what I'm trying to say. So she came to present how the dog worked. So that was on Sunday, and then she's been here helping, ourselves and the Springer family with searches. And every year around this time, Tina and mine's phones and computers blow up with tips. Every holiday, it blows up with tips. So this has been a crazy, let's say, week and a half already. And just as we were getting ready to come online with you guys, my phone just hit with 2 more tips.
Why do you think that happens all of a sudden? Is there more information out there about it, or is it just?
I think it's just the time of year. Every August, right before the anniversary comes up, we start getting a lot of tips.
So, Candace, are people here trained to find missing people?
Well, so we started a branch off of Dylan's Legacy that's called Dylan's Dogs. So what I do with Dylan's Dogs is they are all vetted off of Dylan himself. Misty and everybody got to witness it today. A small finger bone of Dylan, a couple rib bones, and I have lots more, but we use the smallest of the small. So we make all the dogs that I recommend to parents and law enforcement vet off of Dylan. And if they can't find Dylan, they're not going to find Shane, and they're not going to find Michael. And we're using a controlled environment. Why is
that? How does that? So you guys, just so you guys know, Dylan is Candace's son, who also disappeared, and that's when she got like on steroids in this thing. I mean, just like,
I kind of need some physical ones.
she became this person who goes out and I mean, you're trained, you know what you're doing, and you use your own son's bones to train these dogs. So
yes.
How did explain to me, because I'm not very smart. How
Well,
does that dog then know? How do you know he wouldn't find Michael's if he can't find Shane? Do you know what I mean? I mean
or
yours.
if you can't find Dylan, so we're not training them. I just want proof of what your canine can do. I want so Dylan was missing for 22 months when he was recovered. He was out in the desert. The bones are dry and brittle, as you guys seen, and Parrish, you guys have seen them. So my biggest thing is I'm taking Dylan's dogs is taking a parent stand. If I'm going to tell you guys your child is missing and we have a tip and we need to go check it, I want to see with my own eyes that your canine in a controlled environment that we know where the remains are. I want to make sure your canine knows what the resource is, knows what they're looking for before I'm going to endorse them through Dylan's dogs. So we're not training. The dogs are already supposed to be trained. They're already supposed to be certified. I cannot speak for up here because I'll be honest, they declined to come do it. They didn't want.
Wait. What? So you had
So
a session to do this with, to
yes.
look at these dogs, and no one from Lane County showed up?
Well, now let's make this clear again.
I'm just
We are
asking.
not talking about law enforcement. We are talking about volunteer groups who work with law enforcement declined to come and run on Dylan. And so it's not something I would deploy when we're asked for help. And here's my biggest thing is I want to be able to tell Misty and Marissa and everybody and Tina and Parrish and the Blunt family and everybody, I am sending you a canine that I have physically watched with my own eyes, that I have faith on, and I would have go look for my son when he was missing. That is what we're building. So if I don't get to see it, I won't deploy the teams. I won't ask for their help because I don't know why people decline it. I will be honest, and I'm always 100% transparent. This is the first time I've ever been told we don't want our dogs evaluated. I've never been told that, and I've done a pile. So I don't know.
Where have you done this? You've done this all over the country?
Tons in Eastern Idaho, some in Utah. We have another big one in Utah. Our Colorado team that's here with us. Utah team. It's the first time I've been told we don't want them evaluated.
So Tina and Parrish, what does that say? What's your comment from that? That would, if I was a parent, that would kind of concern me, because do we have dogs that in Lane County? Do we have dogs that actually have been? I don't know how to ask the question.
Well,
So
I'll give you a quick example. That I was talking to my brother-in-law about this. He's also in law enforcement, and I got my hunter safety license when I was 12 years old. I've been hunting for 50 years, so I've got 50 years experience shooting a gun. Does that make me a sniper? Does that make me a marksman?
Right.
No, it doesn't. How do I get that? You go to more training. So just because you have a dog that you have has went through a scent class or scent class 2, that doesn't make that dog a cadaver or a forensic dog. They need to go out and be tested or shown in a field where there's actual human remains. And if they hit 7 out of 10 human remains, great, that dog's wonderful. But if they're sniffing around for a hot dog, no, that's not a cadaver dog.
So I'm going to chime in here, Parrish, because there's a couple different things that can happen here. So you can take a dog in a controlled environment and you can lead them to something. So law enforcement usually does not utilize certified canines, but who's doing the certification? What are we training on? Is it pseudo? Is it a high scent bone? So here's a good story for you, Rick. 2 weeks ago, I went to Colorado. I flew in Denver, drove down to Colorado Springs, and I went and cut off a gentleman's arm at a morgue because his family was so kind. Yeah, I know. Tina's still like, what the hell, Candace? His family was so kind, and our canine team went out there looking for him. He got recovered, so they allowed me to go take some of his remains, and there was still, let's just put it was a very questionable situation for me, like, what the hell am I doing? But I did it with 10 snips, and I got his arm, and his wife actually texted me today, and she's like, how did the training on Rodney go? And I still got to text her back, freaking amazing. It is priceless. But that is what we train on. So I never know what other canine teams train on. I don't know if they're keeping training logs. I don't know. And so the thing that I asked, sorry, I had to start the vehicle, is that show me, and now we've got Dylan, and now we've got Rodney. Show me that when we hide these remains, and Shane's family got to see it today, that your canine can actively work, independently work, and find these remains. And we trained on a finger bone of Dylan's this big today, literally just one of his joints, and they still found it. All I'm asking for is prove to me that your canine can do it, so I can go to a family and say, I trust these canines. I've been in this position. And if I was looking for Dylan again, I would bring them in. That is what I'm forming in Dylan's dogs. I'm not certifying. I'm not training. I just want to see if they can do their job.
So if you did like a chicken bone, and I'm not trying to be harsher here or anything, I'm just asking questions because I don't know how to do this. But so if say they trained on something else that was dead, that was an animal or something like that, that doesn't mean it can find a human. So
Absolutely not.
Not a human bone,
Yeah.
what you want to check.
Yeah, and if you've got a team training on animal bones, we got some huge problems, and they'll never be certified, right? There's some huge problems if they're doing that. You get a lot of pseudo scent for people who can't get a hold of a lot of remains, and I've got people that are going to donate their hips when they get replaced. Like, I'm going to have a freezer with parts to train on because that's what it takes.
Joy wants to know if you can find them if they're burned. The remains are burned.
Yeah, so actually, in Dylan's case, so he was the second time he shot on top of his head, it blew out some of his vertebrae where the bullet came out. The guy hid the evidence, put it in a burn barrel, burn it over and over and over, and the canine still found it a year later. And I mean, we're talking bones this big. It is almost impossible to burn a human body into nothing.
So Team
yes.
Misty, Team Misty, that's your whole group. So anyone can speak. But when you guys hear this, and then when did Shane disappear?
November 22nd, right?
Yeah.
21?
21.
I keep this in my head.
So 4 years ago. And when you hear this conversation, what are you thinking?
Well, I keep thinking they found part of his arm a couple miles down from his house. They found part of the skull further down from that, right on the river. That the rest of his body is out there, and we're gonna keep finding him for a long time.
So what is it? I mean, the $10,000 question. It feels to me like, I mean, I know you've had some real good luck with some officers and some detectives and people like that, but it seems like it feels like this is still not taken super seriously. And I'm not trying to accuse anyone, but it almost feels like it's not taken seriously. Thoughts?
Well, it's just the more time that passes, the harder it is, I think, and the less important they become. It gets set on a shelf and forgotten about, it feels like, to families. We don't know if things are happening that we're not aware of, but it doesn't feel like it.
So, I don't know how to ask this. Does that feel like your relatives are devalued?
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk to me about that. Just say what you want to say.
Tina shared a post to me the other day. It talked about grief, and part of the grief is the fear that people forget about your loved one. They forget how they smiled. They forget their eye color. They forget what they smelled like. And that is, as a parent or a brother, sister, sibling, that is our biggest fear, is that people will forget about Michael. And I think that's what's given Tina and I the catalyst to be as vocal as we've been for 5 years. And we won't shut up about it because we don't want people to forget about Michael. We started through our niece, we started a 5K. that we do on the weekend that's around the time that Michael disappeared. And we've done it every year. This will be our 4th year doing it here in 2 weeks. And we do it to raise awareness for missing people. We do it to raise awareness about mental health and addiction. It's not just a time to get together. It's a time to remember Michael. It's a time to remember those people that don't have a voice anymore.
Absolutely.
Well, it also says something about our culture to me, and this is just my opinion, but none of us has perfect lives. None of us are, if we went through and looked at our background, there's, things that we've done in our past that probably that we aren't the most proud of, and we don't want the whole world to know. But I know that Shane had a little bit of a rough go with life, and I know Michael had a little bit of a rough go. Do you think they get written off because, I don't know as much about Dylan, but do they get written off because, it kind of makes me kind of tear up a little bit. They made mistakes, and it feels like that then they're still paying for them, like in death.
Well,
they're still
listen,
paying for the mistake that they made, and so somehow if this was like the mayor's son, that got Misty's whole family. Okay, I just hope people were watching.
Yeah, and
Because
I'm going to tell
you guys lit up, because this is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
If this was the mayor's family or the governor of Oregon or some businessman who owns, the Home Depot or whatever, the search would go on. But because these guys had real problems, real issues, and got lost in ways that Michael was at a party. And so then there's people that say, well, you go to a party, this is what happens. Shane, I don't remember the exact things, but I know there's stuff that if I say anything, I'll probably get myself in a lawsuit or anything. But we know there's some drama there that was caused by other people too. But do you guys know what I'm saying? I mean, go ahead and you guys talk, because I sound like I'm rattling because I'm trying to be so careful of your feelings and other people's. But what pisses me off is this seems very classist.
So can I chime in on this first? Because
Sure can.
Okay. So Dylan dropped out of high school, 16 years old, bought his first farm at 17. No drugs. Yeah, he'd have a few beers. But he was still judged because he dropped out of high school and bought a farm where there was cheap land. He was judged just as severely as Shane and Michael were, just in a different way. So it doesn't have to be drugs. It doesn't have to be a party. They're going to find it and go through your statistics. And it is the white males who get the least attention. And we talked about this last time. And I got so much criticism saying I'm racist and bullshit. I'm not racist, but look at your statistics. Our kids aren't of color, whatever. I don't care what you want to call it. I'm not racist. They're not females. They're not. It is white males in this country are statistically less looked for than anybody.
Wow.
And that is a problem.
It is, and then just in response to your comment, Rick, or your question, Rick, was just last week, someone made a post, and a gentleman on that post said, well, what do you expect? He owed money. He was into drugs and he owed money. What? Huh? Really?
So so if you owe money and you've been using drugs, it's okay that you get killed by people, and then the family never finds you. Because wouldn't that be everybody's credit card debt? And I mean, but let's talk about American credit card debt. I mean, there's just such a bunch of bullshit. I mean, really, it's like that you guys suffer through this for this long and just get, and I know you've had help from law enforcement. There have been helpful people, but it also becomes, that you don't get much mileage with the white guy, do you?
No. And So I have all the cases I have worked since Dylan and since we've started doing this. I have one case that's, a white chick, Bailey Blunt. Other than that, all of my cases have been the Michaels, the Shanes, the Tylers, the Alex Easterlings, the Chris Sins. Every one of them, guys, because they come to me because they know. I mean, besides Parrish and Tita came to me to help me, but they know what that feeling is. And I'm sorry, people can get mad. People can say it is what it is. Anything domestic violence, anything if it's a person of a different ethnicity, I think we have a problem in our country where if law enforcement treats that different, then you're being racist, right? So then
Yep.
they're fighting against that, and it is a huge problem.
Now
Huge.
we Parrish and Tina, we have one woman that's still missing, right? Don't remember we did a live with her, not her dad.
Oh, Fauna Prey.
Fauna
Yeah.
Fry.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but that's unusual.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
My brother Josh owed money and got into drugs and was shot and killed. Even the coroner said it was suspicious. Hold on. Now people are writing. But they said it was suicide and closed the case. That was out of Sonoma County. My brother had a shot through his right hand, a shot through his chin, and it came out his nose. Oh my God.
Yeah. A defensive wound, and then this, but it's suicide. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
This-
This is ongoing everywhere in our country right now.
Misty, if you guys could re-sign on, just shut down and then re-sign on, and you'll come back on. We'll get you back on there. So, at this point, Fauna Fry, is that who it was?
Yeah.
Fauna Fry.
Yeah.
Fauna Fry. Yeah. People are
Yep.
writing in her name. What have you Parrish and Tina, what have you learned? Say that one, Tina. Say the thing that's on your mind right there. That's
It's
what I
there.
want to hear. What have you learned?
Honestly, I've learned on a personal level how strong I am.
You guys,
I've-
go ahead. I'm
I've
sorry.
learned how strong my wife is. I've learned how strong our bond is and what we stand for. It's not easy. I'm not going to lie. It is not easy. But more than anything, I've learned our strength.
You guys, what I love about watching you is like you really are. I mean, a lot of couples, this breaks them up.
Yeah.
And you guys you're like solid in this thing. And I think you deserve some kudos for that and it's not to take away from other people where it splits them up and that kind of thing, because that just happens. But I mean, you guys have really kind of, like you said, you've bonded over this, and it's pretty powerful for the public, for people watching this, because I mean, I hope this isn't taken wrong by, I don't care what the audience thinks, but by you guys. But it really truly is a very beautiful thing to watch you two and how much parents love a kid and unconditionally. I mean, you're not, he made mistakes and he did some things wrong. But he's your boy.
Exactly.
He's our boy, Rick, and we'll never stop fighting for him. We're never going to give up until we bring him home.
And then you also have, I mean, you have people say, oh, you got life to live, and they're right, they do. I mean, because we have a daughter. We have a daughter that we need to also focus on and love on, and make sure that she feels as much attention that we give Michael. And there are times, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I mean, there's times where I know that I have fallen short because I'm so focused on being a voice for Michael that I have not been there for Krista. But that's when mom steps in And she's like, this is what's going on, give him a little grace, and vice versa. There's been times where, I've gotten a phone call like, man, mom's going crazy. Well, give mom a little grace right now. She's going through some stuff, and this kind of thing. I mean, you're right. It will make and or break a family, and it's a road that we are still navigating on a daily basis.
Well, Misty, I know you guys had to go away for a minute there. The signal died. We were just talking about how this has really bonded Tina and Parrish. And you guys, as a family, it seems like this is really strength. I mean, you're very strong about this, and here your daughter's here with you. And I mean, that says a lot. Is there anything you want to say about that?
I mean, I don't know. What would you say?
I think it is bonded family for sure. All the details. Everybody home. So yeah.
It's just hard to be so far.
Yeah, because you guys live where again? Is it Wisconsin or Michigan? You're cutting out, so I'm missing out some of your words. So I'm sorry if I'm toying with this. So Candace, what's your situation with your son?
Oh, well, I'll tell you, my husband stays home and takes care of the house and the 5 dogs I leave behind and still goes to work so I can do this. So we survived it. It brought my ex-husband and I back together in a way of hadn't spoken to each other in 8 years. The whole ex-family, it reunited everything, which was an absolute crazy situation I never thought would happen. So you can pick your battles. You can fight against each other and it can break you, or you can put the craziness aside and it can make you. Tina and Parrish, I know you're just like me. You have your moments and you just want to break a front window out. You have your meltdowns, but you come back together, and it does break a lot of families. It made mine stronger too. So it's a choice. It's a choice you make on your own.
Yeah.
So Candace,
Absolutely.
what needs to change? Missing
You know,
people have no color.
Yeah, we don't have a color, we don't have a race, we don't have a gender. Everybody's on an equal playing field. One thing that really needs to change, and the first thing I asked Misty when I talked to her and Tina and Parrish, like, did you guys have a victim's advocate? Did you have a liaison? No. Um, we're working on another case here that's an active homicide case that I'm not going to mention who it is, but I asked that family the same thing. We've been involved for 9 months now. No, these families are not getting guidance to learn how. Now, listen, the sheriff's office is trying, but we're talking honestly. They are not trained for this shit, and it's not
Nope.
their job.
Right.
So the county needs to step in and provide and make sure that there is a point of contact that is consistently in with these families, which is what we've kind of all stepped in and done. I mean, that's how we got the partial cranium moved. That never would have been done unless I got involved and started screaming for, we need to get this tested. So we can all play a role in public safety. We need to change laws. We need to get better funding, and we need to get better help for families like us put in place, and it can be done. I've changed 11 laws in Utah. I've changed 2 in Montana, and shit needs to change. But we're the people who vote these people in, and we're the people who need to tell them what needs to change, because it's just like you said, if it was the mayor's son, if it was the sheriff's son, this stuff would be handled different. And I will go to bat with the families. If the departments want to argue with me on that, great. We need better education, which we have brought into Lane County. They've been completely receptive to it. Faster ways to analyze data, knowing how to pull it, knowing what the phones can do. Awesome thing is we're getting Shane's data reran, and we're getting Michael's phone looked at on a different spectrum than what they've ever done, because they didn't know it could be done. So we're bringing in the education.
But how how do you not know how to?
Because they're not training them for it. It's not their fault. They
Right.
are not being trained in it when they go through, and stuff changes so fast. And I was lucky enough to hook up with an expert who is more, I mean, I sat and had a Zoom with the one, Aaron Benzek. He does badge apps out of Plano, Texas. He trains all over the country. He's their lead homicide detective. And he took time out of his day to jump on a Zoom with us yesterday with Lane County. And they were all there to say, hey, this is how we do this, boys. And listen, they listened. And they're like, this is amazing. Why didn't we know about this? Well, let me tell you why. Because our state and our county money isn't paying for them to get the education because it's not in the budget. Bottom line.
So how bad is the problem in Lane County versus other places where you work?
I see it's the whole I-5 corridor. Honestly,
Okay.
it's other than that, of course, always your inner cities, those cases, they have a lot more resources, they have a lot more money. But it is the I-5 corridor starting south of Vancouver all the way down into California. We are seeing the same consistent thing. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's true. It is what it
Did,
is. I
did you
mean,
see Spline's comment? The last one. The state and county would rather pay for drug paraphernalia and tents.
well, look what's going on in Bend, Oregon. Your buddy's been over there helping. I mean, but listen, we vote these people in and we are allowing them to allow this to happen. You stand up as constituents. Unfortunately, it takes it affecting you before you realize this stuff needs fixed. But families like us can band together to show the other constituents, hey, vote this person out. Let's get this person in, and they're going to change things. Pay attention. Don't be us before you pay attention. Pay attention before you become us three families on this screen.
Don't you think it's interesting, the rhetoric around life, that life is so important, and and violence against people is wrong, and but then when it comes down to the where the rubber hits the road, where we elect people who don't give a shit. We don't hold people accountable either, which
No.
I know all three this group does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look at it.
You have to be a pain in the ass if you want to get people to move. And
Well,
that's
yeah,
what-
that's-
you have too
that's
many
exactly
people
it.
apathetic, and they just sit back. And I know there'll be people that watch this and they'll go, that's really sad, and then move on with their lives, but it's like you have to push for these people, and are not. I feel like we're in a place in our country too where we're starting to understand that if you don't take hold of this stuff and change it, it's never going to change. And you'll get the same old answers. Money, we don't have enough money. Well, what are you spending your money on? Tents and drug paraphernalia? Or are you spending it on looking for families who've lost their kids, or people who've been murdered, or missing children, or all that kind of stuff? I mean, it's just insane.
Going back to the advocates, had we had an advocate from the very beginning, I think it would have been a little different for us as far as our outlook and how we feel about some aspects of Lane County, because we've been through 3 detectives now. And so I feel like we start over each time, and we really don't have anyone to talk to about that. We don't have anyone to bounce things off of, and I will say this, and I think Candace can back me on this. There is a shift going on right now in Lane County Sheriff's Office.
Yes, there is.
There is a shift going on
Absolutely.
right now, and I'm excited about this shift, because before, I felt like Tina and I were the ones that were out there beating the rubber, and I'm just pounding the pavement to get things done. And then there's families that sit back, and I'm not judging any families, and please don't anybody out there take offense to this. But there are families that are out there that are waiting for law enforcement to solve their missing loved one's case. And unless you are out there making it upfront and in people's face and keeping their name up, in the media, it's going to go cold.
Yeah.
And that's something that we have refused to do. And any case that we have tried to help families with, we mention Shane all the time when we're doing fundraisers. When we did our poker fundraiser, we had 5 posters up. Shane's was right there in the middle. I mean, we're not going to let Lane County forget Shane, just like we're not going to let them forget Michael. And then there's families that don't do that, but they expect law enforcement to solve the case. And it's just, I just want to challenge them. I guess what I'm saying is I want to challenge them, to start being vocal for your loved one, because it's going to go cold if you're not consistently bringing them up to light.
So what can the public do that's watching this right now? How can they, get, can they become a pain in the ass for these places? And how do you do that?
No. So listen, I know that sounds like a great idea, and I tried that, and I know you guys tried that in Michael's case. I don't know if you guys did Misty and Shane's case, but when you start calling into a local law enforcement agency, I mean, come on, we rallied so much in Dylan's case, we actually shut down the 911 switchboard in Box Elder, and the governor's office had to shut down their emails. So that doesn't really accomplish anything, because the higher departments can't come in. They've got to be invited in, and most of the time they are, and they look at the case and they say there's nowhere we can go for this. So when we start getting the general public calling in on these cases, then it becomes a harassment issue, and it shuts down the law enforcement agency totally on it. But what the public can do is they can share the flyers. They can, we did a video, Misty, when we left today up there where Shane was missing, to all the fishermen and anglers, and we're going to get it posted. Hey, if you see something white in the water while you're out here floating, when you're doing this, pay attention. When you know you're in an area where there's a missing person, and we left a bunch of flyers for Shane, we're going to put a bunch up tomorrow when we're out there again for Michael. Pay attention, be aware of your surroundings, and if something looks wrong, call it in. Don't just ignore it. Pay attention to your laws. Pay attention to what people like us are rallying for and changing laws. Support it. Help us lobby. Help us change these things, because as hard as us families fight, we need help to get it done. But we can't do it in a harassing 50,592 phone calls into the governor's office, and that's an exact number. What's that going to do? He has no control. Right? But man, we thought it was a path to take. I mean, Utah and I, we're on a good level now. We're solid together. We help each other. But for the general public just to call in and say, you need to do this on Shane Spring or Michael Bryson or Chase Robertson or, Borkman, or, now we've got Jonathan missing. That's not going to accomplish anything. I will say, like Parrish said, this department is moving in a very solid way. I put it to the families in this way. If I had to go through Dylan's case again and they said, hey, we're going to make Lane County come in and we're going to have them work Dylan's case, I would have said, game on, bring them. So changes are being made, and so we help bump that along, right? We help move it along for them.
How do people, Candace, get a hold of you? I've had a couple people on here say I want to
talk.
Yeah,
so they could just go to DylanRoundsLegacy.org, and there's an email on there that goes direct to me.
And can you put that in the comment section when you get done?
No, because I'm not logged in, because I'm not on my live computer.
No.
If you just Google, if you just
is it
Google
DY?
Yeah, if you just
the old-fashioned way. Is it DYLAN?
Yeah, rounds. That's like a circle, Rick.
Round, okay.
Rounds, but it's got an S. It's like 2 circles.
So it has rounds with an S or round?
No, rounds with an S, like 2 circles.
Okay, and then what comes after that?
Legacy.org.
I'm gonna find her. Okay, I hope that went out right.
We need all the help. We have a lot of legislation we want to change in Oregon. We have some reps that I'm working with. I'd like to get some more constituents. What you guys, what you know about them, I love to research them, and we team up and we partner. Like I said, if not everybody, because that's never going to happen, but if we get more people in the public, more constituents, join us and help us, like I said, do not become us. Help us to not become. Help you to not become us. Please don't become us.
The best way people watching this can never have to live through what Group Misty has gone through and what Parrish and what Candace have gone through is to go and do something, be active about this.
Yes.
So Candace, you can contact her there. Tina and Parrish, tell us more about how people can get involved in the run that's coming up.
They can go to the michaelbrysonfoundation.com website and sign up there. They can also go to eclecticedgeracing.com and sign up there. And we just want this year, because it's the 5-year mark for Michael, as a little added extra, we want everyone to try and wear something purple or wear a costume. And we really want the community to come out and show everybody around that we have not forgotten about these loved ones. You know, we want them to come out and show law enforcement that missing people do matter. You know, this is not just about Michael. This is about every missing person, every person that has a mental health issue or an addiction issue. We want to get them help.
And Misty, Group Misty, what can people do to help with you guys? Oh, your sound's not coming through. Dang it. There. No, it's still not. Oh.
I think it was unmuted and remuted, it looked like.
Not muted.
There you go. Oh,
there,
you were just
there. No, we heard you. Say it.
Well, we think just speak up, share what you know. If you know something, if you've heard something, if you see something extraordinary, just speak up. We just need people to come.
So in Misty's case, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, be watching the river because the other remains are out there somewhere. And then if you, and I'll tread lightly, if you're out there in Blue River and you know something and you're sitting on it and you're not saying anything, shame on you. You need,
yes.
You will, if you take this to your grave and they never find out what happened, because they kind of know what happened. They just need to solidify it. So if you're holding back on that, that is a kind of, in my personal belief system, that is a kind of evil that it will rip you apart. It will tear you down. It's going to kill you. So you had better do the right thing and let this family have some peace. And the same thing goes with the Bryson family. Somebody out there, you know what happened to Michael. You know who did it, and you know that it was wrong. And if you don't tell them and give them some peace, God help you when you're done with this life.
You know, if we had a dollar for every time someone said, "Well, I'm too afraid to say anything. I don't want to say anything because I don't want anything to happen to me," we'd be millionaires by now.
Right. And those people, if they don't say something, it's already happening to them because you're living with the secret and you're not exposing it. And I hope, my prayer would be that every day that they're tormented by that.
Absolutely.
That it comes up in your head every time you see those cute. By the way, Tina, I love the pictures you've been putting, the little videos you've been putting up of Michael. He's so funny. I wish I would have met him. I mean, I was a partier in my day, okay? But I mean, Michael and I could go out and have a beer, and I think we'd have a really good time.
Yes, absolutely you would.
He's just such a cute kid. I mean, really funny. But I hope and you know what? That's a good reason to just keep putting pictures out there. Pop those pictures up, and somebody out there has to look at that and say, "Oh my God, I hold the key for this thing," and hopefully people will come forward. You guys, thank you for always being open and talking, and Misty's family. I'm really happy that the skull is matching, and I hope that when other things happen, I know some things I'm probably not supposed to know, but I hope you get them. I hope that there's a way to get them, And the Brysons, you always know there's a big hug in there for you. Candace, thank you for having. I want to say the biggest balls of any woman I've ever met.
I'll take it. I'll take it,
You
Rick.
can't. If you met Candace in an alley with her dogs, you'd be dead. If you met her by herself, you would be one of those. You're like, what are you trying to do?
Rick, Rick, we think that you finally met your match here with Candace.
What? So she's full of shit too?
On the correct side of the pile, Rick.
Yeah.
On the correct side of the pile. Okay?
There's a Rick side of the shit pile, and there's a Candace side.
Yeah.
Well, I
How
have
about we
always
just meet
lived
in the
on
top?
I've always been on the wrong side. When I was a young kid, I smoked pot, and then I stopped smoking pot, and everybody else started smoking pot, and I didn't want to smoke pot anymore. It was like,
I know, right? I have a bunch
never
of
knew
friends
what
and
to
they all
do with
smoke pot, and I'm like, what are you doing?
when it was popular, I never did it, and I always did it when it wasn't popular, and it was like, God, I just have never been that guy. So anyway, whatever.
It's fine.
Thanks again, you guys, for being here, and I'll say a couple things to the audience, and if you guys want to go in and add comments when you get to a place where you can, any information that they can get them to you, you can, and it goes. What it does is it just feeds that to everybody that was watching on that channel. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's perfect.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate
you.
y'all.
Okay. Thanks, Rick. See you guys. I'll
See
see
you
all
later.
you guys tomorrow.
All right. Bye, you guys. All right. So there. And I mean what I say. You guys, that is, if you know something and you're not saying something, why would you put yourself through that? I don't get it. I mean, you're making them miserable. You're just hurting the families. Like every day you're like stabbing them over and over again because you won't say anything. You're afraid. You're afraid to say something. That's so stupid. I mean, honestly, you will feel so much better if you just confess what you know and get it done. Because you're not only hurting yourself, is you're every single day when these people wake up, you're causing pain. And that's probably not what you originally intended to do. But now it's gotten out of hand and you're afraid to go back. Well, that's a lie. Because it will be better if you just say something. Please. Just give them some peace. Don't you think they've been through enough? 5 years. Yeah. We live in a weird world, don't we? Yeah. Well, wow. If you guys would share this on your page, just so other people can see it and know that this is going on, because you never know who's going to see something and go, yeah, I heard something somewhere. And if you're one of those fucking wackos with another lie and another story, or you saw it in a vision or something, just keep it to yourself. They don't need any more of that. That's your problem. That's not theirs. And God, just don't do that to them either, because you're just re-victimizing people all the time when you do stuff like that. Just write it down on a piece of paper and swallow it and shit it out, because that's where it belongs in the first place. So whatever you got to do, just leave them alone. All right. I'm Rick Dancer. This is why I do what I do. Yeah. We're going to find him. And if we find him before you tell, you are in so much trouble. You will rue the day.